when 56 men signed a document which destroyed my chances of controlling the nation. You know that document as the Declaration of Independence. Had it not been for the influence of that damnable document, I would now have a dictator running the country, and I would stop this right to free speech and independent thought that is threatening my rule on earth. Speech and independent thought that is threatening my rule on earth. Speech and independent thought that is threatening my rule on earth.
Welcome back to BadassWitch Exclusive, River Queen Conjure, and No Narc Network TV. I am the Oracle / Badass Witch, BadassWitch. We're on lesson 9 of Dissecting the Devil, you guys. So congratulations to those who have stayed the course the entire time. I guarantee you that your mind is beginning to be renewed, okay? So congratulations. And I look forward to us growing together, okay? To the new group members, welcome. And to those of you who would like to join the private No Narc Network, we are getting ready to go into the meat of things. I am live in the network right now. I'm also live on BadassWitch Exclusive on SUBCRIBE Star. Okay, so I do have a BadassWitch Exclusive on YouTube, and I also have a BadassWitch Exclusive on SUBCRIBE Star. Okay, and you can join the No Narc Network via BadassWitch Exclusive or BadassWitch Exclusive on Patreon. Those links are in the description box. Congratulations to the supporter who actually donated and actually got more than tenfold in return as a tangible manifestation. Okay, so congratulations. And thank you as well. And thank you to all of my supporters. If you are interested in supporting the channel, my Cash App and PayPal links are in the description box. And shout out to my clients who I'm doing work for tonight on the Strawberry Moon. So happy Strawberry Moon, everyone. We may go live and talk about this energy a little bit later, because I am feeling amazing, and I have been feeling amazing, I would say, for the past 3 days. So this would be like the 3rd day that I've been feeling amazing. Okay, so this Strawberry Moon energy is very powerful. It's very positive, and it's very uplifting. So I'm hoping that you guys can harness this. Okay, and so I'm doing rituals tonight for some of my clients. So I will be sharing some tips and secrets on BadassWitch Exclusive and also BadassWitch Exclusive, which are my crowdfunding sites. So, you know, if you guys are interested, again, those links are in the description. So I have talked long enough, you guys. We are on lesson 9. Let's get it.
Am I to understand from what you say that nations controlled by self-appointed dictators belong in your camp?
There are no self-appointed dictators. I appoint them all. Moreover, I manipulate them and direct them in their work. Nations run by my dictators know what they want and take it by force. Look what I have done through Mussolini in Italy. Look what I am doing through Hitler in Germany. Look what I am doing through Stalin in Russia. My dictators run those nations for me because the people have been subdued through the habit of drifting. My dictators do no drifting.
So I want to stop for a minute here, you guys, just to clarify, because I don't want anyone to be confused. His dictators do no drifting now, but at one point in time, they were all drifters, which is how he gained control of their minds, okay?
That is why they rule for me the millions of people under their control.
So if you listen to his wording, he's telling you that his dictators do no drifting, but they're also not thinking for themselves. What has happened is he has taken complete and absolute control of their minds and is working through these people, okay?
What would happen if Mussolini, Stalin, and Hitler turned traitors and disavowed you and your rule?
That will not happen because I have them too well bribed. I am paying each of them with the sop of his own vanity, by making him believe he is acting on his own account. That is another trick of mine.
The reason they can be made to believe that they're acting on their own account is because they are not mindful of the quality or origin of their own thoughts.
Let us come back to the United States and learn something of what you were doing to convert people into the habit of drifting.
Right now I am paving the way for a dictatorship by sowing the seeds of fear and uncertainty in the minds of the people.
Through whom are you carrying on your work?
Mainly through the president. I am destroying his influence with the people by causing him to drift on the question of a working agreement between employers and their employees. If I can induce him to drift for another year, he will be so thoroughly discredited I can hand over the country to a dictator. If the president continues to drift, I will paralyze personal freedom in the United States, just as I destroyed it in Spain, Italy, Germany, and England.
What you say leads me to the conclusion that drifting is a weakness which inevitably ends in failure, whether among individuals or nations. Is that your claim?
Drifting is the most common cause of failure in every walk of life. I can control anyone whom I can induce to form the habit of drifting on any subject. The reason for this is twofold. First, the drifter is just so much putty in my hands, to be molded into whatever pattern I choose. Because drifting destroys the power of individual initiative. Second, the drifter cannot get help from my opposition, because the opposition is not attracted to anything so soft and useless.
So remember, you guys, that this is warfare, okay? So the angels, the warrior gods and goddesses that will be sent to, partake in this spiritual battle, are not going to be weak on any level, okay? They may be pure at heart, they may be empathic in nature, but one thing that they are not is weak.
Is that why a few people are wealthy while the majority of people are poor?
That is exactly the reason. Poverty, like physical illness, is a contagious disease. You find it always among the drifters, never among those who know what they want and are determined to get just that. It may mean something to you when I call your attention to the fact that the non-drifters, whom I do not control, and those who possess most of the wealth of the world, happen to be the same people.
So keep in mind, again, that this was written in 1938. And so at that time, there were a lot of independent thinkers who were wealthy and doing their own thing. However, remember that the devil's agenda was to take over the world and to begin to control the minds of these people. So fast forward to now, in 2019, this is not the case. Most of the people who have the wealth of the world have successfully been infiltrated by the devil, okay?
I have always understood that money was the root of all evil, that the poor and the meek would inherit heaven, while the wealthy would pass into your hands. What have you to say of that claim?
Men who know how to get the material things of life generally know how to keep out of the hands of the devil as well. The ability to acquire things is contagious. Drifters acquire nothing except that which no one else wants. If more people had definite aims and stronger desires for material and spiritual riches, I would have fewer victims.
So most people who are not spiritually inclined speak of, people who are quote unquote spiritual as, always being broke and sick. And, this has some level of truth to it, even in my own spiritual walk, because I'm not naturally a materialistic person. I had to train myself to focus on material things and money and things like that in order to become an effective creator and being able to manifest those things in my own life. So this is an aspect of spirituality that needs to be tweaked, that it is okay to desire a good quality of life, and this does not in any way impede on your spirituality. It is there, though, a very delicate balance, because we do know that anytime there is an increase in anything, and most importantly in material things, that the ego does begin to grow. So it is important to ground yourself spiritually before you begin to create these things, but it is also important to add the material things that you wish to have in this life into your spiritual practice. Okay?
I assume from what you say that you do not claim fellowship with the industrial leaders. Evidently, they are not friends of yours?
Friends of mine. I'll tell you what sort of friends of mine they are. They have belted the entire country with good roads, thus bringing into close communion the people of both city and country. They have converted ores into steel, with which they have built the skeletons of great skyscrapers. They have harnessed electrical power and converted it into 1,000 uses, all designed to give man time to think. They have provided through the automobile personal transportation to the humblest citizen, thus giving to everyone the freedom of travel. They have provided every home with instantaneous news of what is happening in all parts of the world through the aid of the radio. They have reared libraries in every city, town, and hamlet, and have filled them with books, giving to all who read a complete outline of the most useful knowledge mankind has gathered from his experiences. They have given the humblest citizen the right to express his own opinion on any subject, at any time, anywhere, without fear of molestation. And they have seen to it that every citizen may help make his own laws, levy his own taxes, and manage his own country through the ballot. These are but some of the things the industrial leaders have done to give every citizen the privilege of becoming a non-drifter. Do you think these men have helped my cause?
So in 1938, the devil had a problem with people having personal freedoms, such as, being able to travel anywhere that they wanted to, being able to read and learn about whatever they wanted to, being able to speak on whatever they wanted to speak on, and so forth and so on. And now look at the current state of things. We're fighting over borders to separate, people from being able to travel wherever they wanted to. There is a literary canon which decides whether or not which books go into the libraries and in the schools and what people are able and have access to learn about. Look at what's happening currently with YouTube and the YouTube creators, where we are being censored, demonetized, and discouraged from free thinking, free thought, and free speech. So in 1938, these were all things that troubled the devil. And in 2019, these are all things that the devil has actually hijacked and is now in control of. Okay?
Who are some of the present-day non-drifters over whom you have no control?
I have control over no non-drifter, present or past. I control the weak, not those who think for themselves.
Go ahead and describe a typical drifter. Give your description point by point so I can recognize a drifter when I see him.
The first thing you will notice about a drifter is his total lack of a major purpose in life. He will be conspicuous by his lack of self-confidence. He will never accomplish anything requiring thought and effort. He spends all he earns, and more, too, if he can get credit. He will be sick or ailing from some real or imaginary cause, and calling to high heaven if he suffers the least physical pain. He will have little or no imagination. He will lack enthusiasm and initiative to begin anything he is not forced to undertake, and he will plainly express his weakness by taking the line of least resistance whenever he can do so. He will be ill-tempered and lacking in control over his emotions. His personality will be without magnetism, and it will not attract other people. He will have opinions on everything but accurate knowledge of nothing. He may be jack of all trades, but good at none. He will neglect to cooperate with those around him, even those on whom he must depend for food and shelter. He will make the same mistake over and over again, never profiting by failure. He will be narrow-minded and intolerant on all subjects, ready to crucify those who may disagree with him. He will expect everything of others, but be willing to give little or nothing in return. He may begin many things, but he will complete nothing. He will be loud in his condemnation of his government, but he will never tell you definitely how it can be improved. He will never reach decisions on anything if he can avoid it, and if he is forced to decide, he will reverse himself at the first opportunity. He will eat too much and exercise too little. He will take a drink of liquor if someone else will pay for it. He will gamble if he can do it on the cuff. He will criticize others who are succeeding in their chosen calling. In brief, the drifter will work harder to get out of thinking than most others work in earning a good living. He will tell a lie rather than admit his ignorance on any subject. If he works for others, he will criticize them to their backs and flatter them to their faces.
So did y'all notice that every quality that he mentioned was that of a narcissist?
You have given me a graphic description of the drifter. Please now describe the non-drifter so that I may recognize him on sight.
The first sign of a non-drifter is this. He is always engaged in doing something definite, through some well-organized plan which is definite. He has a major goal in life toward which he is always working, and many minor goals, all of which lead toward his central scheme. The tone of his voice, the quickness of his step, the sparkle in his eyes, the quickness of his decisions clearly mark him as a person who knows exactly what he wants and is determined to get it, no matter how long it may take, or what price he must pay. If you ask him questions, he gives you direct answers, and never falls back on evasions or resorts to subterfuge. He extends many favors to others, but accepts favors sparingly, or not at all. He will be found up front, whether he is playing a game or fighting a war. If he does not know the answers, he will say so, frankly. He has a good memory, never offers an alibi for his shortcomings. He never blames others for his mistakes, no matter if they deserve the blame. He used to be known as a go-getter, but in modern times he is called a go-giver. You will find him running the biggest business in town, living on the best street, driving the best automobile, and making his presence felt wherever he happens to be. He is an inspiration to all who come into contact with his mind. The major distinguishing feature of the non-drifter is this: he has a mind of his own, and uses it for all purposes.
In other words, the non-drifter uses their mind power to bring about a manifestation of each and every need and or desire that he or she has.
Is the non-drifter born with some mental, physical, or spiritual advantage not available to the drifter?
No. The major difference between the drifter and the non-drifter is something equally available to both. It is simply the prerogative right of each to use his own mind and think for himself.
So if you're wondering if the out-of-control narcissist has the ability to take control over their own thoughts and behavior, the answer is yes, okay? It is most definitely easier said than done. However, if the narcissist does truly want to change, they will be willing to put in the effort and the work on the self in order to make that change. But the point that is being made here is whether or not you take control of your own thoughts, or whether you allow your thoughts to be controlled by an outside source, is ultimately your decision, or the decision of the narcissist that is systematically lowering your vibration. Okay.
What brief message would you send to the typical drifter if you wished to cure him of this evil habit?
I would admonish him to wake up and give.
Give what?
Some form of service useful to as many people as possible.
So the non-drifter is supposed to give, is he?
Yes, if he expects to get, and he must give before he gets.
It is not only universal law, but also written in the religious text that what you give will also be given unto you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure that you use, it will be measured unto you. So why must we give in order to receive? Because the ultimate reality being the immutable fact that there is but one of us. Okay? If you can drop the illusion, if you can drop the material reality, if you can drop the mental construct for a minute and allow the spirit to just be, you will see that there is no space. There is no space between us. There is but one divine being. There is no space between us. There is but one divine being between us. Having many. There is but one divine being. Having many experiences. Your brain has officially been tweaked. Rewind this section. As needed.
Some people doubt that you exist.
I wouldn't worry about that if I were you. Those who are ready to be converted from the habit of drifting will recognize the authenticity of this interview by its soundness of counsel. The others are not worth the trouble it would take to convert them.
Why do you not try to stop me from publishing this confession I'm wringing from you?
Because that would be the surest of all ways to guarantee you will publish it. I have a better plan than trying to suppress publication of my confession. I will urge you to go ahead with the publication, then sit back and watch you suffer when some of my faithful drifters begin to make things hot for you. I will not need to deny your story. My followers will do that for me. See if they don't.
So remember, guys, that after he finished this publication, it took 73 years to have it released. Okay?
If this confession of yours stopped right here, your statement would be sound, but fortunately for millions of your victims who will gain their release because of your confession, this interview will continue until you have supplied me with the weapon by which you will eventually be restrained from domination of people through their fears and superstitions. Remember, Your Majesty, your confession has just begun. After I wring from you a description of the methods by which you control people, I will force you also to give the formula by which your control can be broken at will.
Okay, we are going to end lesson 9 right here, guys. You did receive a minor yet major subliminal perception correction, okay? And this will continue to adjust your perception going forward, okay? And if you need to, or if you would like to rewind to the section where I did point out that you had just received a brain tweak, feel free to do that as many times as you need to or as you would like to, okay? So lesson 9 is done. For those of you who would like to join the private Nonarch network, the link is in the description box. Lesson 10 will be on YouTube, but there is no guarantee that the subsequent lessons will be on YouTube at any point after lesson 10. These lessons will go and can go private into the private Nonarch network, okay? If you guys are interested in seeing the narcissists that are being exposed, you want to subscribe to Nonarch Network TV, Nonarch Network being all one word, TV a separate word. If you like watching mini mukbangs, you want to subscribe to my Badass Bites channel. And if you are interested in supporting the channel, once again, the Cash App and PayPal links are in the description box, okay? The Nonarch Network group members, there will be again some extra goodies in the group for you guys coming up in the next couple of days. I may be reaching out to a couple of you, and I do have an interview coming up with the young lady that I mentioned in the group that I wanted to do an interview for privately for the group, okay? So again, thank you all for coming. Go back to the brain tweak as many times as you need to, and until we meet again, my people, keep it classy, keep it clean, and do what you got to do to make shit happen. Peace.